Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of South Park, Douche and a Danish. This is another good one. They've had a really good roll so far this season with episodes, and I think they've got a really good concept with how they're doing the arcs. So, we got a continuation that the boys versus the girls has escalated to the point where they're getting ready to start fighting each other. There was this one girl who was going to fight Butters, but he was keeping his pants down and everything, and it was just interesting to see that kind of almost escalate, and then seeing Cartman and Heidi come in and try and de-escalate it, and how everybody was confused as hell that Cartman had a girlfriend and that someone was actually taking Cartman's side, and then Cartman wasn't doing anything evil at the moment. One girl puked and then passed out. It was funny as hell. And seeing him be kind of disgustingly cute, it's like, oh my god, what the hell is going on here? It's like wrong, but you're like, you want something like this because we want to see how Cartman reacts to it. If it'll change him at all, or if it'll put him in a place where he'll do something completely and utterly fucked up. And just having that there really creates a sort of like fun atmosphere, even though we're in a place that the boys and the girls could literally start tearing each other apart. And seeing each side's kind of like beef with each other, it's done very well by the creators of South Park. So we've got that going on, and they're trying to get each side to kind of like back down and everything, and trying to figure out a solution that'll kind of bring everybody together. And that also saw itself put out as the PC principal kind of gave them the floor for their idea, which is to do a fundraiser to help fund the Denmark initiative to stop trolling, because they think that trolling is a pretty big part of this, and trying to stop that. And of course, another girl puked and passed out, and that was funny, just seeing the whole school's continued reaction to this, in their opinion, something that should never happen and never really truly be. Cartman should always be evil. He should always be the one behind what's going on. And it's kind of cool to have that concept flipped. So that's really cool to connect them to the Denmark thing, which they're trying to get everything up and running. They're asking social media to help them fund their site to find and disband and get trolls screwed over and get them out and done. So they're getting ready on that, getting ready to launch everything, doing everything on social media, but they didn't think it through all the way, because that's kind of the trolls' domain. So we go and see Gerald at his troll conference, which, seeing the dude's like, oh, you got everything in there? You need anything? He's like, we could use some more creamer. Thank you. And locks the door. And they're like, okay, we've got to get a plan of attack. Okay, Skank Hunt, why do you do what you do? He's like, I do it to see groups' reaction, to get one group riled up, and then have another group annoyed that they're riled up, and then just start having them fighting each other. And that, of course, the audience can tell, and then like the trolls are like, oh, so that's why you do it. It's fun for him. He loves that negativity. If that negativity isn't fed to him that way, and he's not letting it out like that, we've seen in the other episodes that it'll then filter out into the real world it's like a steam release valve for him. He's got negative emotions and negative things that he needs to say, so he rips it off onto other people who can't get back at him, and then just sees the sparks fly. That's Gerald's kind of thing. And it was kind of interesting to see him be that kind of person with the trolls, and the trolls are like, alright, how do we stop this? It's like, let's troll a whole country. And it's like, that's a pretty big thing to accomplish. So they then get everything together, and Gerald goes back to his house with Dildo Schwaggins and sets up his thing. Dildo's spouting off why he does what he does, which is because everyone called him a midget in school, and he was not a midget, but his mother was a midget, and got together with a dude with giantism to think that the baby would be normal. And he's pouring his heart out, and Gerald is just laughing. And he's just like, he does it for the lulz. And it's like, yes, there are people out there who just do it because they want to get a rise out of people, and they think it's funny. And that's the kind of weird concept you got to defeat, because feeding the troll only makes it stronger. And that's kind of what got Denmark into the position it did, because then they set up this whole kind of command center with all the trolls, kind of similar to like Star Wars with the squadrons and everything going in, and they trolled Denmark and made the link. They perpetuated the false link that Lego was linked with ISIS, which then started this whole shitstorm, which pretty much had Denmark have to take itself off of social media, which completely screwed over their funding campaign, which of course screwed over the whole Danish thing that Cartman and Heidi were doing, because their idea was to sell Danishes for Denmark, and of course all of them were dressed up, and everybody was kind of pissed off with Denmark, so them trying to sell it kind of failed. And Heidi was like, I can't believe my idea didn't work and all that. Cartman's like, no, don't worry, we got this. Butters was getting riled up, everybody was starting to almost get on each other, and it's like, okay, well, they had a tenuous truce in making those Danishes, and then once the cracks started to appear, it's like, okay, you gotta get onto something really quick. And it was kind of cool, because later, Cartman and Heidi sent a VHS tape. I never thought I'd see that used as old school off the grid kind of thing, and it's great, because what other way would they do it? Because Denmark's completely cut off. So they send that in, and they're like, alright, we got an idea to get the source of the trolls. It's like, we're gonna get Cartman doing something, but it's gonna be like a force for good. We'll have to see how long that lasts, because Cartman's devious as hell. This has been shown. But since this is coming from a more positive aspect, I wonder if he will go far enough to end the trolls. Or if they will only go so far, they'll do something horrible, and then the full frickin' Cartman is going to be unleashed. Oh, and since they also today announced the Nintendo Switch, I'm waiting to see when that's going to be coming into effect, because Cartman is into Nintendo. He's into video games. I want to see that put into another episode at some point, because that's got to affect something, unless they are keeping more to their serialized kind of arc for the season. But they need a little bit of something. So that kind of wrapped up that kind of portion. We're kind of seeing that the trolls think that they've won and everything. And the other portion that we get in the episode, which was really great, which led to two interesting revelations, was Garrison with his campaign stuff. He's trying his hardest for people to stop voting for him. So he starts talking about all this kind of sexist stuff, mimicking the Trump scandals and everything, talking about all this sexual harassment stuff that he was going to be doing to women, and women left it. Left where he was talking. He's trying his hardest, and his advisors don't get that. He's like, our polls are tanking. What are you going to go tell him? He's like, and then he just goes with the rig thing. Oh, if I don't win, it's rigged. I knew I wasn't going to win. And then it really pissed off his supporters so much so they're like, you're not trying, and then they're getting ready to kill him. And it was like, this beast that you created has turned against you. And you kind of feel a little bit bad for Garrison, but you really don't, because he starts going through, he's escaped from his advisors, and it was funny. He's like trying to go back to being a teacher. All right, children, where did we leave off? Grammar, adjectives. And he's trying to do it, and his advisor trying to rip him away. He's like, no, don't take me back, don't kill me. And then he's going, and he's finally escaped again. And he goes to the member-berry meeting, and he's like, all I wanted to do was get rid of the immigrants. It's like, damn it, Garrison. You started with one asshole thing, and it snowballed into this giant asshole thing, and that's usually the kind of things that happen to Garrison. He thinks he's got something. Usually it's kind of either an iffy idea to begin with, and then it just kind of goes into this weird fucking realm. And of course, he's now got pretty much his whole support base trying to kill him. His advisors trying to get him to do something good to salvage what's going on, even though he doesn't have a plan to do anything at all as president. So that's when Randy brings the reveal of the member berries and everything. He's like, I don't know why people want to vote for me and everything. I don't know what I need to do. And he's like, it's because of these. And we get the reveal of the member berries that Randy's talking about all this stuff that's been going on, and he links it back to Star Wars. It's like, okay, yeah, it's a rehash, getting back to the old school Star Wars stuff that we've already seen. It was a nice dig at Star Wars. I will admit, it's good. And then he goes, all right, see these? Because society has gotten lazy, we've gotten all these member berries, which date back to Roman times. And you're just like, what the hell's going on with this? It makes people want to be safe back in the good old days, even if they weren't so good. So then he shows a picture of like a Roman, and it happened in Rome. He's like, those look like grapes. And he's like zoomed in on it. It's like the member berries, like, okay, so how does this have to do with like Star Wars and all that? It's like, I think that J.J. Abrams is behind it. And then it pulled the picture seeing J.J. Abrams with a hat like Make America Great Again, but Make Star Wars Great Again. And then Garrison's like, oh my God. So now we've got all these intricate parts and we're getting all these stories together, and it's doing a really good job of kind of connecting it overall. Now, granted, the Cartman and the Troll thing is kind of its own separate issue, but now we've got the member berries and the campaign thing connected, so it's going to be interesting to see if at one point they actually kind of converge and what that's kind of going to bring about story-wise, who's going to have to be players and what, or if they're going to be kind of just parallel storylines with weird shenanigans going on. And I'm just really excited to see where these are going to go. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.